Thank you for waiting. I'm sure that you'll be rewarded for your patience. We're talking about distorted thinking again. And the idea we're talking about is heaven's reward fallacy. Let's look at this. You expect all your sacrifices and self-denial to pay off, as if there were someone keeping score. You feel bitter when the reward does not come. So I'll give an example of this. I worked with a gentleman that actively sought me out before I transitioned. And essentially, without going into details, the conversation was that this person wanted to be challenged. And a lot of their major complaints were this fallacy, the idea that they'd put their work in, they had worked their butt off, but no one cared about them. And it was interesting because they would go off on these tangents about damn millennials want everything handed to them, and where was everyone when all these things happened, and I tried to be compassionate, but one of the things I really struggled with was this: is that there was this belief here that if you sacrifice and sacrifice and sacrifice, if you put the work in again and again and again, you're going to get some sort of reward, that you're due this. And while I like that idea of fairness, the reality is that life is rarely that fair. The heavens reward fallacy is directly related to what we were just talking about, the fallacy of change. Often, people will engage in the fallacy of change because of a heavens reward fallacy. That is, if I just sacrifice enough, they'll change. The same thing's here true. This is the Protestant work ethic. It's the bootstrap argument, as Miss Pastamaster said. The simple fact of the matter is that there is no guarantee of actual prizes at the end. The cake is a lie. One of the ways that I feel like society sort of traps us or can sometimes fuck with us, I think this is why gig or grind culture is so fucking toxic. Twixter, I agree. They said heaven and hell are a state of being rather than a destination, in my perspective. I can see it both ways, but again, I tend not to get into religious arguments. Again, I'm a Buddhist. Buddha was like, you're asking the wrong questions. Fuck what happens after you die. How are you living? Right? So, like, the issue I have with this one is that I feel like it's not just an issue of you setting yourself up for being hurt or angry because you're not being given your due. And yes, Minerva, this is in fact the incel argument. Also, you have she, they pronouns as well. Hog. My issue with this is that I feel like there's a societal connection to this. You know that shit we looked at earlier where we talked about, all these hierarchies and social justice warriors are ruining everything in therapy and yada yada. One of the things I think can be really problematic is that often I think society hands marginalized people the heavens reward fallacy. If you're just good enough and you act like a good token and you don't open your mouth, you get rewarded by us not being shitty to you. And one, that doesn't actually stop them. That was really loud, Bun. Thanks. Dog's over here just licking herself as loud as can be. Anywho, so one of the issues with this idea of the heavens reward fallacy is that I feel like it can be used as ways to exert power, right? This can be a way in which a person can be told that if they just wait a little longer, it'll be okay. Or just stay quiet, trans girl. Don't go on the internet and start a YouTube channel. Think about that. I'm not the first trans woman on YouTube. I'm not even the 100th, probably. But the sheer number of trans people that actually feel comfortable enough by speaking out, knowing full well the shit they're going to get. Samantha Lux has an entire video about the shit people say to her. Contra's brought it up in several videos. Cat Black talks about the way people treat her all the fucking time. And they shouldn't, because Cat Black is amazing, and leave her alone. She's great. Fuck off.
I think we say this one to teens a lot, too. Like, just get through high school, it'll be fine, right?
Yeah, and the problem is that's not always necessarily true. There is a truth to that argument, though, in the sense that if you're able to financially escape and get out of the situation, technically you won't be with those assholes anymore. It doesn't mean it's going to get better in every conceivable way. So again, it's the complex thing.
Well, I find it is complex, and I find it usually in the way of, like, if you're being bullied or harassed, like, that doesn't mean that that isn't doing lasting damage to you, right? Like, I think I heard that one a lot growing up, was it'll get better when you get to college, right? You know, you keep putting in the work, you keep putting in all this stuff, and it'll get better. Well, I mean...
So Patricia said, atheist here, I am on board with that philosophy just mentioned. So actually that comes from Buddhism and comes from a particular either metaphor or parable. I forget the title is given, but it's essentially known as the arrow parable. And essentially what it is a guy comes up to the Buddha and says something to the effect of, what happens when you die? Are the gods real? You know, what is the meaning of life? All these things. And the Buddha says, it's like you've been struck with an arrow. And rather than asking me to fetch the surgeon or the antitoxin for the poison clearly laced on the arrowhead, instead you ask me, who made the arrow? What feathers were used in its fletching? You're asking the wrong questions. I think this notion, and I've heard a couple different people talk about this, but the idea is that some questions need to be dissolved rather than resolved. And I honestly think these after-death questions or end-of-life stuff, some of that might need to be that. And the same thing's true with this heaven's reward fallacy. Why put it off? Isn't this the way people stay in the closet for years because they're trying to meet other people's expectations, only to find they didn't do this? I did that. Yes, I benefited from some privilege from that, but also to some degree, I look back and I'm going to be 40 next month. And I'm horrified by the fact that 90-some-odd% of that, 96% of my entire life up till now, I've been a person I hated. If I just hold on long enough. Yeah. No, the heaven's reward fallacy is bullshit. It's a way for us to kind of get led by the nose. It's the carrot for the stick. And I bring this up because I think it's really important to recognize. You had something?
Oh, I was just going to say, and also kind of the way to not necessarily deal with things in the moment, right?
Well, yeah, because you sort of like...
Now I can just go avoid this thing because eventually it'll pay off.
No, absolutely. Twixter, yeah. And YouTube chat, Twixter said, yeah, you feel robbed and feeling sucks. Super true. By the way, mods, would you put a link for the Discord in the YouTube chat? I would really appreciate it in case anyone wants to join. Yeah, I mean, to some degree, like, relaxing and collapsing back into emptiness sounds rad, but we got shit to do. So, my point with all this is really simple. I think we need to look at this differently and ask ourselves the clear intention of, are the things being promised to us fair? Are they things that are likely to happen? This directly connects to things because, again, if you're just hoping and praying that if you put in enough work and enough advocacy, your parents will finally accept you, they may not. It's not guaranteed. Nothing is. Right? So I just think it's important to recognize these distorted thinkings because I think they can lead us to really painful places. And I don't want to see that happen to you guys. So with that said, unless you have anything else?
That was about it.
Cool. All right. So if you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. I actually want to hear your guys' thoughts about the heaven's reward fallacy and what you feel like this is either bringing this up has done for you, or do you feel like this is something you've dealt with, or other people you know deal with this? Feel free to comment down below. Please ring the bell so you can get notifications. We're trying to grow the channel. Subscriptions have slowed down significantly. Please, please sub. Please, please ring the bell. I try to put out videos fairly often. We have at least a stream once a week. We were talking about doing a little bit more of them and doing some gaming streams. I've talked about playing Resident Evil 8 on stream. The channel's growing. Please come here. If you want to donate, please go to streamlabs.com/transgirltherapist/tip. You could do a one-time donation there, or you can become a patron at Patreon, patreon.com/transgirltherapist. All right? And yeah, why don't we leave this one here, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.